If you've seen any of my previous videos, then you may recognise this here. It's a spectrum that I'm trying to build from all new bits. And I'm hoping in this video that I'll finally get it finished and find, well, who knows what we'll find when we turn it on. Is it going to work, or is it going to go up in a puff of magic smoke? I don't know. It's been a little bit of a while in the making as this final one. I've taken a little bit of time out just to relax and spend a bit of time with my family. But I'm back at it. So without further ado, let's get it finished and see if it works. Before we jump right in though, a quick thank you to the sponsor of this video, PCBWay, who makes videos like this possible. PCBWay, they make PCBs from as little as $5 with super fast shipping. Here is one that I got off their project pages. It's a recreation of the issue 3B ZX Spectrum board. So if you fancy getting yourself one of these, get yourself on the PCBWay projects pages. But not only do they do PCBs, they also do 3D printing. This is a little case they made up for me for my little Retrolium diagnostic cart. And as well as 3D printing, they do CNC machining. So whatever your project needs, do check out PCBWay. If you need some inspiration, check out their project pages. It's crammed full of them. But thank you again to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. Link in the description. So since finishing the last video, I've done a few little bits and pieces. I've fitted the majority of the remainder of the components. I've put the necessary bridges in for the RAM and ROM settings. The only thing left to do really is I need to solder these sockets in, and I've also got, if you can see that clearly, I've also got a reproduction of the RF modulator, which will give a composite output. So that'll go somewhere around there once I've got it fitted. I'll get these fitted. I'll get these soldered in off camera. There's nothing particularly exciting about that, and I'll join you back once I've got those soldered in. Right, so that's all the sockets installed. The board needs a bit of a clean, but we'll worry about that later. I've got, for the upper RAM, I've gone with a RAM module rather than using individual ICs, just because that's what I thought would be the best option. So installing it, it says on the instructions pin 1 with pin 1 up on the IC. It may be a little bit fiddly on camera. I think we're about lined up. Has that gone in? Tell you what, let's take it out of the board holder. Don't really need that. I think that's in. What I'd probably suggest you do before you do fit all the ICs and everything is you probably want to test the voltage on the board, having assembled all the other components, just to make sure you've got the voltages there. But I have already done that. Now the last thing I've got to fit is this composite module. Now it comes with this 3D printed thing, and mine didn't come with any instructions, and it also came with a couple of these little standoffs as well. Now, first thing I was considering is which way around does it want it to go? And I've come to the conclusion, rightly or wrongly, that because this is raised underneath, want a clear gap, just so it sits nice and flush on the corners. So that's how I'm going to do it, if that makes sense. Now that might be wrong, but that's fine if it's wrong. You might have a better way, but that's what I'm thinking. And then what I'm thinking as well is for these legs to go through, because these legs are needed. You can't just put the 5 volt and the supply signal in. This does need to be earthed as well, which I'll earth through these pads here. Now, I was debating about whether that standoff would go in the middle, the black plastic bit, if that makes sense. And I don't think there is really enough room in there. So what I'm going to do is and I'll probably have to do this off camera because it'll be quite fiddly to do, is I'm just going to use the leg itself. I'm not going to worry about this black bit, and I'll just solder it on there, put it through the board, and then solder it into place. So that's the plan. I'll let you know how that gets on. Right, so this is how far I've got. I just thought I'd show you this. It's not very elegant, but I've managed to just get these pins to stick on. And what I'll do is I'll cut the bottom off, the black bit, and then hopefully, well, I'm not even sure I'll need to cut it off, to be honest. It should just go through because the holes are that big. Let's see. Yeah, it'll go through. So, that's the idea. Flip it round and then just pile the solder in. Right. You're watching it live. Well, you're not watching it live, are you? But let's stick a load of solder in, see what happens. Right, we can always adjust that a little bit later. How's that? Right. How's it on the board? Right, I'll tell you what, whilst I don't think that's too bad for a first attempt. Right, let's get some more solder on top. Let's get this top bit done. Give me iron clean. How's that look? Not too bad. Not too bad. Right, I'll get some more solder on the base, and then I think that's in then. Right, let's see if we can get the 5-volt connected up. Let's do that first. Let's just tin this up. I'll do the other one while we're here. Right. A little bit of wire. Oops. There we go. That's that one. Let's do the supply wire, the signal wire. Also here. All good. Right, got those wires trimmed down a bit. How's that? Right, let's get these soldered on the other side, and then we should be good to test it. Oh, these are fiddly. Right, let's get those soldered. Right, that's those on. Right, really is moment of truth now, isn't it? Let's see. Oh dear, nervous. Let's see what happens. Like I said earlier, my advice would be, before you put the ICs on, check the voltages. I've not connected up to the display yet, so I don't know if it works, but my advice would be, did I say that? Check the voltages before you put the chips in. It's not complicated, and I know my voltages are good, so let's just go with the ground. On the output, go to pin 1, got minus 4.4 volts, which is within tolerance. We've got 11.9, and we should have 5 volts. Brilliant. So check your voltages. Right, let's connect up to display. Right, moment of truth then. Everything's a bit messy, but let's see what we've got. Ooh. Everything's inverted. Ooh, it thinks there's a key press. I have no keyboard connected. Well, it's not dead. Nothing's getting hot. Let's try that again. I don't know what to make of that. Any ideas? I've never seen that before. Let's just try it again. Right, let me do some Googling and I'll come back to you. So here we are, a short time later, and I'm so excited to show you this. I found out what the problem was. This modern replica ROM, for whatever reason, it just doesn't want to work with my board. So I've swapped it out and put a different one in. It's still a modern replica, but that was all the problem was. Let me show you. It's working. It's working perfectly. And this is a 2-ROM ROM, as it were. So I'll turn it off and just throw it onto the diagnostics. I'll let it run it through its thing, but it is working absolutely perfectly. I can't believe it. I honestly, I didn't expect it to work. I just didn't. With my crappy soldering skills, which they're on the improve with better solder and all that sort of stuff. Check out my previous videos on that. But I really didn't expect it to work. So I've got a new keyboard membrane connected to it. And what I'll show you in a second is it loading from this, what do you call it? TZX Duino, something like that. I don't know. I'm just too excited. Let me show you it loading. That's what I want to do. I want you to see it. Let's power that off. Let's go to standard ROM. Power that on, and I think it's J. Right, and with a bit of luck, this is going to load Manic Miner. Look at that. Right. Let's enter. So that is it. It's pretty much finished other than putting it in a case. And I just don't have the budget at the moment for a brand new case. So for the time being, I'll be sticking in here. I've got a new keyboard membrane though, which I've swapped out. It's not hard to do. Just bend the metal tabs and the top faceplate comes off. So that's So that'll be going in there shortly. I thought I'd just give you my thoughts on what I've made of building this. It's certainly not the easiest of builds. Having said that, if you're half decent at soldering, it isn't too hard. I think the hardest thing for me, other than using cheap, crappy solder to begin with, which I learnt a big lesson from, is some of the components really, really are hard to come by. And the hardest bits for me to source were, I think it was the ceramic disc capacitor up there. I found that really hard to come by. Everything else, some of them are hard to come by, some of them are really hard to come by, that being a case in point. So thank you, John, for helping me out with that. John's also helped me with a few other bits and pieces for the machine, not to mention the ULA and the ROM, which for whatever reason I couldn't get to work, but no big deal. I'm wondering if it might be just a case of the jumper settings down here, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. I tried the ROM on a couple of other Spectrums and it didn't want to work on that either, so who knows? But I am absolutely over the moon, and I'm really looking forward to at some point getting it in a brand new case, and I have got a brand new Spectrum, which is crazy, really. So let's get it put in a case, and albeit a temporary one, and just double check everything still fits nice and snug. So let's get powered on, and what about Chucky Egg? Right, I'll try not to get in the way. So here it is, finished, albeit still waiting to go in its nice, sexy new case, which will happen at some point. But the real question, I suppose, is, should you build one? And I think the answer to that is, well, it depends. For me, I am an absolute Spectrum nut, and the idea of bringing a new Spectrum to life is just really quite thrilling. Even though I've got several other Spectrums, including back there, the one that I had from a boy. This still has given me a great deal of fun to put together, but it's not for everybody. If you just want to relive a little bit of your childhood, then there are emulators you can use, of course, on the PC, or you could even have a trip onto eBay and pick up one that's been refurbished. They do crop up from time to time. So you'll almost be plug and play, I would have thought, doing that. And of course, you won't need to worry about sourcing components and your abilities or lack of soldering. And then, of course, there's a cost. This is not a cheap thing to make. It really isn't. I reckon the total cost of building one of these somewhere between 150 and £200, depending where you're sourcing your bits and pieces from. So it really isn't a cheap option. But if you are a Spectrum nut like me, then it's a massive yes. I can't tell you how thrilling it was to see it power on for the first time. That is something that you won't get with anything else. And if I sound like I'm mad, then maybe I am, but I'm very happy to have had a go at this, and I'm even happier that it's worked. So with that all said, if you've enjoyed my videos, please do consider giving me a thumbs up and a subscribe if it's warranted. I'm sure there'll be plenty more Spectrum stuff to come in the future, as well as all my other stuff that I get up to with my other retro computers. There's also a link in the description if you would like to financially support my channel to help me produce more videos like this in the future. So thank you for watching, and I'll play you out with some nice close-ups of the Spectrum motherboard. Bye for now.